All right, hey, what's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you here at the Allen Angus Pub, getting ready for an unbelievable lunch. What am I going to get today? I could get the specialty burger, which is the Reuben burger with the corned beef and a sauerkraut and all the rest of it, or I could just get a basic power play burger. I could get a regular burger with bacon and cheese. I could go with a Louis Armstrong chicken sandwich. The choices here are aplenty, and of course, they do have salads and soups for you as well at the Allen Angus Pub. They also have a meatball sub here. They have great beers on tap into the bottle. Get here before and after all the big events in downtown Syracuse. The Allen Angus Pub is the official pub of the ML Sports Platter. Make sure you go like them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter, and you can catch all their weekly burger specials. They've had a million of them, from the Reuben burger to the to the 3Bs, you name it. The Power Play burger has won Burger of the Year in New York State multiple times. This is a tremendous place to go before and after all the big events, Syracuse sports, concerts, you name it, the Allen Angus Pub. I want to get into the 2019 Pittsburgh Steelers. This team is going into a year that is part transition and part keep the train a chugging. We know that as you look at the training camp situation, I think the first thing that obviously jumps off the page is, can this team stay afloat? And what I mean by that is that they're missing Antonio Brown, who's now in Oakland, and of course, you take a look at you take a look at LeVeon Bell now with the New York Jets. This is a really, 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 really hard thing when you lose two monster superstars in terms of those two guys. It is an incredible challenge for them at this particular juncture, because you've got to make up for all of that production with those two guys. When you talk about Antonio Brown, I know all about the diva stuff. I know all about the drama and all that. But the reality is, with these two guys, they are on their way to the Hall of Fame. I mean, Le'Veon Bell is probably the best back in the NFL when he's healthy and fully locked and loaded and ready to go. And then you look at Antonio Brown, a guy who is going to go to the John Gruden offense, and in my opinion, I think he's going to have a huge year. I think it's going to change Derek Carr's complete and utter perception of how he looks at the game and how he produces. He's an 1,000-yard to 15, 16, 1,800-yard guy a year, and he also runs crisp routes. He can run any route. He's absolutely tremendous. This is just a really, really hard challenge, I think. Again, I know that they wanted to get the clutter out of the locker room. I know that they wanted to get all the drama out of the locker room, but the production is still, you cannot poo-poo the production. Those two guys put up incredible numbers, and I just wonder if guys like Pouncey and Howard and company, the leaders in that locker room, Big Ben Roethlisberger, if they're going to be able to, as a cohesive unit, just kind of hold it together and keep that thing going. That's the number one storyline for me for Pittsburgh training camp here in 2019. Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, life after those two guys. My second storyline is, of course, starting over with the culture. Now that Brown and Bell are gone, is Big Ben Roethlisberger ready to take over? If there's any semblance of drama, if there's any semblance of arguing, if there's any sense of locker room disconnect, it's going to fall on the shoulders of the head coach, Mike Tomlin, and it's going to fall on the shoulders of Big Ben Roethlisberger. There's no question about it. So now it's up to those guys to prove to me, to you, to all the other media people, to fans, to the league, to owners, that all the drama, they got rid of it, and they were right. Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown were the reasons. Now here we are, and we're doing our thing. We're moving on. My third storyline is Juju Smith-Schuster ready to take over as the number one wide receiver. A lot of times when you get a guy who's number two as the wide receiver, who then becomes the number one, it becomes very difficult for a team to gain a little bit of momentum there. It's awfully tough for the quarterback to get that new number one feel. Can Juju Smith-Schuster and Big Ben have that 1-2 punch? Can they capture some of the magic that Antonio Brown and Big Ben Roethlisberger had? I'm not sure if they can. However, I think it's very possible. I think Juju Smith-Schuster is one of the most talented players in the entire NFL, and Big Ben still has a lot in the tank for sure. When you look at the defense of the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is a team that needs to be right on its axis at all times. You cannot break apart. You cannot lose the middle of the field. This is a team that has to have that defensive aggressiveness, and they had a really good draft. They went out and got a bunch of guys I think who are going to help the defense. You've gotten some linebacker depth now. There's a lot more there for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, where I think they're going to be a really, really, really solid defense. And as far as the storyline goes with the AFC North, you look at this division, and it might come down to Pittsburgh against Cleveland at this particular point. Who would have thought that we were, going to talk about that a few years ago with the old rivals and the Browns and the Steelers? But right now, both teams appear to me to be ahead of the Baltimore Ravens. I still take Big Ben over Lamar Jackson. I would take Baker Mayfield in a heartbeat over Lamar Jackson. And I would take the complete rosters of both those teams over the Baltimore Ravens as well. There will be bloodbaths. There will be ugly games. Those three teams should be duking it out for first place, and certainly a wild card could be available for one of the other two. I do think still, though, it is Pittsburgh's division to lose. Cleveland still has to prove a ton. They had a great year last year. They've taken the right strides. They hired Freddie Kitchens as the head coach, Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry. We know all about the ton of talent that they have. And then on defense, they're led by some major studs like Myles Garrett. So the Cleveland Browns will definitely be a threat in the AFC North. The question becomes, can the Pittsburgh Steelers stay afloat? How much better are they than the Baltimore Ravens heading into the regular season? I don't think this year you're going to have to worry about the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a team that I think is in full transition mode. They're going to try to fix some things in the front office. They're in full transition mode with head coach. They're going to be in full transition mode very, very soon with a quarterback and Andy Dalton. In fact, I thought they were going to try to move him in the offseason during the NFL draft. But this is going to be a fascinating season in the AFC North. Obviously, most people, most eyes are fixated on the Cleveland Browns and seeing if they can actually be the real deal and go win the division. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, boy, I'll tell you what, they're right there. They're next in line as far as some of the big-time NFL training camp storylines that I'm looking at. And as far as within the Steelers training camp, it really comes down to the things that I just talked about. It comes down to Antonio Brown. It comes down to LeVeon Bell. Those two guys being gone, how do you make up for that production? Juju Smith-Schuster as the number one. Can the number 2, 3, and 4 be equal to what the 2, 3, and 4 were when Brown was there? Also, James Conner, a tremendous running back. Another big reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers have zero problem waving goodbye to LeVeon Bell. This guy comes right in from college in Pittsburgh. He knows the area. He knows the franchise. He's battled a ton of adversity with his health. Now James Conner is becoming a major force in that locker room and a big-time productive guy as well. So when you look at Big Ben, you look at Juju Smith-Schuster, you look at James Conner, this could be the new trio that replaces Big Ben and Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. Smith-Schuster and James Conner, the production certainly can be there. They're two incredibly talented players. I just wonder about the depth of the offense going forward. And I think the defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to be a lot better than people think. I worry a little bit about the offensive line. There was about a 2, 3, 4 year period where it was between them and Indianapolis and Green Bay and a host of others had the most horrendous offensive lines in the NFL. Well, now they're rebounding right now. I think that their line is going to be a little bit better. And, of course, Big Ben's got to get the ball out as fast as humanly possible. But the Pittsburgh Steelers are up there at the top of the list for my storylines in the National Football League, considering that Bell and Brown are not there, and let's see if that culture gets better. Well, I'm here doing 9 minutes with Mike Lindsley on IGTV, Facebook, and YouTube, right here from the Allen Angus Pub. You got to get here. Downtown Syracuse, Harrison Street. It is a tremendous place to go before and after all your big events in Central New York. Concerts, Everson Museum, sporting events, Syracuse football right around the corner. Come on down and stop before and after the football game. Grab your burger, grab your sandwich, grab your drink, grab your family and friends, and head on down to the Al and Angus Pub. Gift cards are always available. Swag is always available. And make sure you go like them on Facebook and follow them on Instagram. The Al and Angus Pub is the official pub of the ML Sports Platter. Hit me on Twitter at Mike L Sports, and don't forget to download that aforementioned ML Sports Platter podcast. It's all over the big-time platforms, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. You can download it, you can subscribe to it, leave feedback for it, and a 5-star review. That stuff helps an awful, awful lot. When you do that, you'll hear all my interviews from Cooperstown, New York this past weekend, including Andy Pettit, Jorge Posada, and Tino Martinez. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.